Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And we are SP Film Viewers.
So, we're back after our short little breakaway, with the whole moving house kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it's been a bit hectic, hasn't it? Went well though. We seem very, very settled. We've kind of got to a point of, what's the old house again? What house? We've fallen in head over heels, I think, with this one.
Yeah, it's so much better overall, and it's just everything, including this, recording in a much more quieter area without any loud traffic going on is blissful. Did a test earlier, and it's yes, this is great.
Yeah, it's what we need. So, in the mix of this, I actually had a birthday. Believe it or not, I think we moved in the day before my birthday, and I said that was my birthday present, wasn't it? That we were in this house.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to fit in initially when we'd done the movie marathon.
That birthday special
for you.
For me, yeah. We want to do a similar thing for Sophie, which we have done that, but obviously not crammed it all in one day. We've spaced it out into over the past few days.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had time to kind of dedicate just a day to a movie, so we've been doing our evenings.
And get it out in time. So it's like a belated recording of Sophie's birthday films that she's picked out.
So we did the same principle to what Paul did. So a film Paul hasn't seen, a film we both have seen, and a film
that neither of us seen. Yeah.
Which I'm not going to lie, because I don't normally get to pick the movies. I was very excited to be able to pick and have my say a little bit on what we could watch. It was literally Paul didn't really get a choice, which is normally where I sit, where Paul kind of goes, oh, do you want to watch this? And put something on, and then I'll decide if I like it.
So as a similar format of what we did for mine, we're going to start off reviewing the film that neither of us had seen before, which was Birds of Prey.
Which has quite a long title.
Winded title, I'm not going to even bother saying so.
Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, something Empire, or
Emancipation of one Harley Quinn or something.
It's seriously, literally, do we need to be that lengthy of a title? But
it's trying to be clever, I think.
I think I can kind of understand it now, though, watching the film with the title. Because Harley Quinn is quite wordy, and she doesn't shut up, and she constantly... So I feel like the title kind of suits her character.
Yeah.
With it being She constantly just, a mouth just runs.
It's one of those films I think we'd seen in the trailers at the cinema when we used to go to the cinema. And so we was like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good actually. But we just never got around to
going to see it.
Really.
We never get around to going to see the movies Sophie wants to go see. Paul won't pay for the ones that Sophie wants to see normally.
I don't know if that's really true.
And normally I don't have a film that I will go to Paul and say, oh, I really want to pay to go to see this in the cinema. That rarely happens, does it, really?
No. And that seems like eons ago that we went to cinema anyway, so beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
So, it has kind of a bit of a comic book style, which obviously it's DC, so it's expected.
It's going to have that, yeah.
And it kind of has the writing coming up at the side, telling you the person's name. Kind of a little bit then of a bit of a, looking like it's drawn on, kind of, so to speak. Which kind of, it doesn't spoil it, it kind of adds that kind of comic value. It's very colourful, like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I know, so it's a bit like Reflection of the Suicide Squad poster, where it's all the, almost the colours of the rainbow involved in it, and this is kind of just blows that tenfold, really, in terms of the amount of colours and stuff that's going on.
I really liked it though, because she's a colourful character, and I think the way that they portrayed her character.
Yeah, loud, very loud.
Yeah.
like she is, and boisterous.
Also the music, I don't know if you thought of anything of the music side of it, but it was quite modern twist.
Do you mean taking old songs and being more like a slow, not plinky plonky, isn't like piano, but you're kind of like that moody, angsty kind of, yeah.
And some of them were more well-known, kind of, from modern day as well. But they all sounded a bit the same, the way that they were done. Also, I think it was mainly female songs.
Yes, I mean, it was a cover of Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Yeah.
Which I think is the same one as Heart, which is Barracuda as well. So yeah, so it was obviously a very female-dominated soundtrack, like it is a female-dominated film, which
obviously I think that's what kind of captured me to want to watch it initially, was like the kind of...
the women kicking ass, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I enjoy seeing that. Also, I wanted to know how well Harley Quinn would have coped without the Joker.
To be honest, she was more the lead in Suicide Squad anyway, really. She stood out compared to all the other characters, really. So, it wasn't like I wasn't worried about her not shining, because she is the star in her own film, but she was also the kind of the star in that. She was the saving grace of that, I guess.
I think as well, the actress obviously of Harley Quinn,
Margot Robbie,
is brilliant.
She knows. Yeah.
Like, you can't really fault her acting or the way that she does any.
No, she has a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, and you quite enjoy her as a character, I think. Even though she's absolutely psycho, you kind of start to like her. She's like a really likable character. If you were on her side, I think she would have you back.
Yeah. As I've said before, it's like, as many people have said before, it's always kind of fun to play the villain. And she has a lot of fun with what she does in this. So.
There is a couple of other characters, like the little bird.
Black Canary, yeah.
Who I think actually shines out a little bit more. So she's kind of...
Than Harley Quinn.
Not as much as Harley Quinn, but she's quite more... I think she's like the second dominated kind of character within it. She's in it throughout, and she can kick ass, and she's quite good as well. And actually, she's got a bit more of a sensible head on than Harley. Yeah. So she kind of is able to do the right things, whereas I think Harley sometimes can trip into a psychotic kind of brain and become a bit selfish.
Yeah.
So it's all to do with this diamond, isn't it, that this little kid's decided to swallow. And it was massive, this diamond was. It wasn't like huge, but to swallow it whole, I'm surprised she didn't choke. So obviously this girl had a rough life. She's been a foster child. She's picking pockets and stuff like that and going down the wrong crowd, and she picks the wrong pocket. And that's kind of your main drive, but obviously as well you've got the fact that Harley Quinn has broken up with the Joker. Yeah. She's devastated. She does this big shebang of and the Joker are no longer, and then everybody basically wants her head. Because
no, she's not got his protection anymore. So
even I think she did obviously love him and she missed him, but she valued his protection, I think, more. Yeah. And there was a lot of people that she'd upset.
Very much. Like every turn that she went down, someone was after her. So that's why you had all the, like you say, the comic books are like name grievance. Yeah. It's like because
which I quite liked. I do think it was a bit weak at times. The action went on for quite a bit and it wasn't as impactful. So it was like just constantly kind of fighting. It felt a little bit for me, and a little bit less storyline. Like literally like you said, literally every street corner she was like, oh right, here's another fight scene. Oh yeah, okay, another fight scene and another fight scene. It's like literally just like that was the main.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I feel like that's got to have that to make it interesting, because it being a comic book thing, it can't be too much dialogue focused. And
I think it was just a little bit kind of dragged out for my liking with that. I think it felt like it was going a little bit slow for me, like kind of with the story to get it to where I would find it enjoyable. I think I actually enjoyed more the parts where they got to know one another, like with Black Canary, Harley Quinn, and obviously the little girl. I enjoyed those scenes more than I did the fight scenes. The only really, really good fight scene was at the end, for me, where they all joined together.
Yeah, the technically ex-police cop and Huntress.
Yes. And obviously you've got Black Canary.
Yeah.
Harley, and then this little girl that's now quivering. The little girl does get on my nerves a little bit because like she acts like a badass, but she's...
Well, as young people do that age, I think they're Wildos and something kind of thing. But it's, yeah, I know what you mean by annoying kid, really. I just, stop trying to be hard, because you're not.
Yeah, and then don't shake behind somebody and be like, oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah,
And it's like, well, 1 minute you were just talking all that talk, walk the walk kind of thing. Can't have people like that. It just frustrates me.
What did you make of Black Mask as a character?
It wasn't really much of a villain for me. It didn't seem to... I wasn't quivering at my boots. He seemed a bit too clean.
For me, he seemed a bit flamboyant at times. Whereas the thing is, I know two of those characters from playing like the Batman Arkham Asylum games, or the Arkham City one. Black Mask, Roman Sionis, that's how his name is. Obviously, it's set in a more dark tone version of the Batman universe anyway. And obviously he comes across a lot more intimidating in that, because he's obviously like more of a mob boss leader. And his henchman in this film, Zaz, he's a bit more of a loose screw in the video game as well.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, they seemed a bit toned down in how they were in this film. I don't know if that's to come across as more of a very much more comic book style. Obviously, I haven't read the comics, so I can't really reflect on if that's how he really is in terms of a...
Or is it what's the rating again?
15.
15.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if that was maybe an aspect of it, maybe.
No, the games are 15 as well, so...
Oh, right, so there's no difference there then.
No. There's a lot of swearing in this film. Like F-bombs left, right and centre.
Yeah, there was. And I think...
It seems trying to make things a bit edgy, but yet here's him, those two as characters didn't really strike me as that intimidating, really.
No, they didn't, and only when he actually wore the mask.
Did he look anything?
Yeah,
but...
I didn't even know I think I read it, but then didn't really twig onto why until like the back end when he wore a mask, and I was like, oh, okay, now he looks scary. Yeah. That was it, really.
Yeah, I think it's more of a case of, as they like to do, in that, it's just so they can have screen time with the face. Can't be wearing, if you've got a character who normally would wear a mask or something, you've got to have portions of it where...
Yeah, but literally it was just the majority of the film, wasn't it, without
him, which is kind of like, oh, you could be anybody, really.
Yeah, I didn't even...
So that's what I mean, it's kind of like a very...
Because like for me, I'm not like as in depth with it as you are, obviously.
I mean, by no means am I that in depth, but I know those two characters from the game solely, and they don't reflect that here, so kind of annoying. And especially as what seems supposed to be the climax of the film, and that was very anticlimactic, where he meets his demise, really. It's kind of like, oh, is that it? Yeah. And it's like, right, done. Alright, film's over now.
And then kind of it did give me a happy ending, though.
Right.
Like, everything was solved, and she had her friends, and obviously she took the little girl on as an apprentice and such. So that was like a good, like, nice little ending. But I do think, would I watch it again, seeing it now?
No, yeah, exactly the same thing. Just like Suicide Squad. I've seen it now, but I'd say it was a lot better than Suicide Squad.
I 100% agree with that. It wasn't like it was like, what the heck am I watching? Yeah. It was enjoyable to watch, but it just felt like the pace was a little bit slow.
So it kind of dragged a little bit in the middle, slightly picked up almost to the end, and then there was that bit, like I just said about it, kind of just went, and we're done.
Yeah, we did actually rent this on YouTube. Was it YouTube?
Yeah, it was through YouTube. But I know you'd mentioned about seeing it, so I'm thinking, is there somewhere cheaply we can just watch it? And
which I'm kind of glad I didn't pay movie value for. Now, actually, this is why we never go for my movies. So I think really it's good that we could catch up on it and see if it's something that we did want to watch. We've seen it now, and that's kind of like that. That's that. I don't regret seeing it.
No, I don't.
But I don't really feel anything about it, I guess, in the end.
It is what it is, just leave your brain at the door, just a little action fun.
I'm not attached to it.
No. So
I'll let you start with the scorings.
I think I'm going to give it a 6.
Weirdly enough, I'm agreeing with you. I was just thinking in my head how I wanted to score this and comparing it to the other two that we've seen.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this definitely is probably the weakest.
Yeah, not quite middle ground thing, but it's a very small minor thing that I did like. But you know, it's because it's made in animation. The like opening thing where she gives like a little backstory about where did she come from or whatever and all that stuff. That the visuals and that were pretty good.
Yeah, I thought you would like that.
So even if it's just a very, very small minor part, but it's fun just to see her just causing havoc with everything and all that stuff. But I say like the characters I didn't really care much about, and they didn't come across as intimidating, like we said. And I'm not in a dire need for there to be a sequel or anything. I'm sure there probably will be in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's kind of just like, yeah, that was a bit fun. There's nothing to truly take away from it, really.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on all of them points.
Yeah.
It was just a bit of fun to watch. Don't tell anyone not to watch it. They have to watch it for their own sake.
Okay. Do you have any sway on it for being primarily female oriented cast or anything? Or
I think that's what kind of gives it the upper hand, and that's why I'm giving it probably the 6.
6, right? Okay.
But then I do remember thinking I'm sat here watching it, and it was like it's dragging. And I don't think any movie that you watch should feel like it drags.
No.
Really, because that's never a good thing to say about a film. So I think the empowerment of the women, but like you said, I didn't really feel attached to anyone. Harley Quinn was a really good actress in it, but it just was a bit. It's just there. It exists. It's not rubbish, but it's not like knockout worthy either.
Yeah.
There we go with that one.
So now the next one that we're going to be talking about, which is the one that I haven't seen, but Sophie has seen, is Pretty Woman.
Walking down the street, pretty woman, kind of guy, something I'd like to meet.
Kind of guy I like to meet. Kind of gal, sorry. Just saying not a guy, you know what I mean?
Well, this is a movie which Paul actually bought me a Blu-ray.
Your birthday, yeah?
For my birthday.
Because I know we didn't go and see it at the drive-in experience.
Yes, because it was a toss-up between Dirty Dancing and Pretty Woman. And I actually did say to Paul, because I let him pick, and he picked Dirty Dancing. I was quite surprised, because actually I did say Pretty Woman actually has a lot more content. Like, you can talk a lot more about Pretty Woman than you probably can do Dirty Dancing.
But in hindsight, now if we'd have seen Pretty Woman in the lashing down rain, I probably wouldn't have taken much away from it, really, if it had done that one. So I felt like I did, when you said that, I'm thinking that probably means it's probably needs to be a bit more focused on what's the story and everything and all that stuff. I know it's essentially a rom-com type of thing, so it's not going to be too strenuous and in its methods of storytelling, but I got it thinking, I know you'd appreciate it, and almost exclusively for this review, I guess.
I think also as well, I'd rather have a copy of Pretty Woman, so it worked out well, than Dirty Dancing. I think Dirty Dancing it's good, but it's not anything compared to Pretty Woman, in my opinion.
Okay. Probably, as you remember, it's not being as strong with the acting, I suppose, in Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now on reflection, it
kind of makes it a bit more weak.
Yeah. So, in terms of storyline with Pretty Woman, it's lead man Richard Gere. He's called Edward Lewis, and he's seeming to be kind of like high up in his a businessman. Things like secretary is more in contact with his girlfriend and his ex-wife and all that kind of. Was it in that situation?
Yeah.
And as he's making his way back to Beverly Hills, just go to the hotel that he's staying in, he is where he encounters our lead lady, Julia Roberts, or Vivian Ward as a character.
Which I just want to interrupt here and say that Paul Parks does not like Julia Roberts, and the fact that he has got me this as a DVD Blu-ray to watch for my birthday, And he despises this woman.
I don't despise her.
He doesn't like her. We've never watched a Julia Roberts film.
Have we not watched one? Not an Hill before?
Maybe halfway through.
No.
It's been like on a telly thing. I don't think we've watched it all the way.
No, I think we watched that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe once.
She's not my, like, I must see, she's in it, I must watch.
I think she's a really good actress. I don't... Like, there's also, like, My Best Friend's Wedding that you haven't even seen yet. However, he's a bit freaked out about her mouth, aren't you?
She's got a big mouth, though.
She has, but I don't understand why you don't like her because of her mouth. She's not going to swallow you whole. Does that give you that? So this means that this gift that he gave me meant a hell of a lot. Because it's like, he's going to have to put himself through a rom-com with Julia Roberts, who he doesn't like, and the big scary mouth for like an hour and 40 minutes. So carry on. So he meets Julia Roberts, the main love. And I thought you would like her because she's a redhead. Do you like redheads? Or is it only fake redheads you like?
So she's a prostitute that he comes across on Hollywood Boulevard and ends up basically having her tag along to the hotel in Beverly Hills. Yeah.
To be honest, I'd be his prostitute if I were getting treated the way that she were getting treated.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. She's getting paid to stay in a luxury penthouse.
Yeah.
He's not even ill-treating her or anything like that. He's not even expecting anything. He's just paying for her company, pretty much.
Yeah. So he's obviously very work-orientated. So this is, you kind of see where things are going with that. How he's going to be, like you say, he's initially just wanting the company, and then he kind of obviously becomes more engrossed in having her around, really, just to, there's a big business deal that's supposed to be happening this week, and he basically hires her out for the
whole
week.
You can also see a little bit of he's interested by her because of the different lifestyle that they both lead. Yeah,
there's a scene where I think she's in the bathroom, and he's like, "Oh no, don't be doing drugs in here." But then she's flossing her teeth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, not doing drugs like he thought. So that's kind of like, you shouldn't judge solely by that, thinking just because she is who she is.
Yeah.
That she's kind of doing something nasty.
I think there's a lot of that in this, where that's kind of like the moral behind the story is don't judge a book by its cover.
Okay.
Also, your class. It doesn't matter
where
you come from or how much money you've got, because Edward Lewis... Is it Edward Lewis?
Yes. You should know. So
he has everything, but his relationships are never going anywhere.
No.
And he's always picking these women that are loving the finer things, and obviously the Julia Roberts character, she's quite innocent. She's not really wanting a lot from life. She doesn't expect anything monetary off him, and the way that he gives and provides for her, I think that's kind of interesting to see how that relationship pans out, because really there is an obvious class difference.
But it kind of bring up how they are sort of one and the same with their businesses anyway.
Yeah.
They both screw people for money with no emotional attachment.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of reflects on both the parts. Like,
yeah, they do seem to kind of gel.
In that sense.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad how it comes across a bit later on in the film where, in terms of the money aspect of things, like Edward is having to go to the clothes shops with Vivian and having everybody, like, because of his status, he's doing the whole like sucking up, mentions that as thing to do, like, don't on your every need, if you just give us the money to do it, then we'll do whatever you want, kind of thing. It's a bit sad. And
I think it's more sad how the fact of Julia Roberts went into the shop and they judged her and wouldn't serve her. However, she had money to spend, and they got rid of clientele just because they thought her look wasn't appealing towards their store. And it's like, you shouldn't judge anybody. Anyone can walk into a store and buy something if they've got the money for it. So the fact that then he had to go with her just for her to get that authority and that respect is like, I don't really value that at all. I think that's a horrible thing, and I think it still happens today in this society, and it's ridiculous. And I love the scene where she goes in with all the bags, goes into the other shop and goes, kind of, look at all these that I've got. Big mistake.
Do you work on commission? So yeah, well, you just lost sale there.
Huge mistake. And walks out the door, and it's like, if I were her, I'd have done exactly the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing about class, I suppose, that I noted down was when they go to the opera, and she's not really been before.
With the glasses.
Yeah, it's not working.
That would be such a me thing to do.
I said that, I think. But that how, she's never seen anything like that before, and how she was completely moved by what was then, considering the fact, she said like, oh, they're in Italian, how am I going to know what they're saying, which is true. Music is a universal thing where if you can be moved by any piece of music just by the way it's played. So if you don't have to really know if there's lyrics, what they're saying, but if you can feel it through that, then it's then so I do quite like that aspect. Yeah. Because I quite like listening to classical music, and you can be moved by music. Of course you can,
yeah. I do think she did spoil herself after when she spoke to somebody. I think I nearly pissed my pants or something like that. And then he kind of says something.
Oh, she liked it more than Pirates of Penzance or something.
Yeah. Trying to kind of cover up for her.
As a small one that was on earlier on, obviously when they first met, and he's clearly never really driven stick before in the car.
Yeah.
Because he's proper crunching through the gears, and I was like, so to you, it's making me upset that it can't
do it right.
I'm not massive thing on driving cars, but don't wreck them, because just it's a very expensive piece of machinery.
And the poor car, it's literally torturing it. It's might as well just be strangling the car.
Yeah.
Also, he did say that that's because he's being chauffeured around in the nose.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's got a silver spoon or gold spoon in his mouth.
Whereas Vivian is more, she knows the stuff about cars.
Yeah.
So again, it's the whole sort of reversal on that, really. It's normally the men who know all about the vehicles and stuff, whereas the women don't. But
I think it tried to make her stand out a little bit with that, how the way the character looks special, even though she's a prostitute. In the end, a lot of people really like this character, and even the characters are so happy that she's kind of leveled up in life, so to speak.
Yeah, like the people in the hotel.
They're so, initially when they come in, they are judging a book by the cover.
Again, yeah.
But by the end, they actually become friends and become close to her and really, really care about her and her well-being. And I think it portrays how much of a lovely character she is, the way that everybody kind of dotes over her.
And more on their relationship between the two of them, how it was tastefully done with how, the intimacy scenes.
Yes, it
really.
was.
It wasn't. It didn't come across really soppy or anything like that.
You never really saw anything really happen.
Yeah.
It was kind of, it put that in your head that you knew something will have happened, and kind of the
I think that
play up towards it.
Yeah.
But nothing crassed or anything like that.
No, there wasn't really. There's maybe a bit in I think when he's in the piano.
Yeah, that's the kind of the worst. Not the worst, but that's kind of the heaviest it gets.
Yeah, in this that you see. Yeah. Thinking, okay.
It's one of those where I don't think I'd be that cringy watching it with somebody else that I didn't really know. I wouldn't feel.
Yeah.
Whereas Dirty Dancing, I think I'd be
a bit more.
Bit more raunchy. There's one bit that I thought you would have said. It's one of my favourite scenes, which is when she's in the bathtub and she's singing Prince.
Yeah. That's very funny.
I love that scene. And you can see Edward Lewis kind of slowly starting to like her. She's got a horrible voice, but she's really enjoying the bathtub and singing her heart out.
With the Walkman.
Yeah, with Walkman. Yeah. And that is just an amazing scene of kind of how you're seeing where the characters and the relationship might go initially at just such an early stage. You can kind of see.
Yeah, because he's probably used to dating women who are a bit more, the class of like being hoity-toity, whereas she's a bit more like just free and quirky and completely different to what he really knows. So,
and I think that's what's good for him.
Yeah, and there's another part when they say about, I think both of them say like, oh, I don't kiss on the mouth because it's too personal or something. And then obviously there's a part later on down the line where that happens, so you know that they've reached the peak of in their relationship of getting that to that point.
Yes. And you know that it's more
grown.
than work now. Because she's obviously being paid to keep him company and go on these business trips and such like that.
Yeah.
I think you kind of see the relationship blossom, and that's the bit that I really, really enjoyed to see. But at the end, obviously, it's quite a bit of a roller coaster with the relationship. It goes up and it goes really up, and then it goes really down, and then it spirals out.
But ultimately, it's going to be all right in the end because of what it is.
Because it's a chick flick,
Yeah, it's not going to be anything less.
No, but there is that scene where he tells his sleazeball friend that he works with that she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's the horriblest guy that would be like a sleazeball character that then thinks he can just push his luck and treat her like she's crap, basically.
Yeah.
I don't really like that scene. That's like my least favourite part of the film, but obviously it needs to be in because...
Then this is sort of an antagonist.
Yeah. And especially with the situation, obviously she's a prostitute, so you can't glamorise it too much.
Although they technically have, really, in the sense of the way they've done it, because she is made more prim and proper. But
yeah, and she does actually better herself and move on, which is the loveliest part of the film. But I think this bit kind of gives it a little bit more grit and a bit more dirt to it, which is kind of bringing back the reality of what kind of the story is behind. Yeah. Obviously, she has a friend called Kit who does drugs. She's the typical kind of what you stereotype want to be.
Yeah.
Spends all the money, doesn't kind of want to progress or get any further. And you can kind of see how she's envious of Julia Roberts, but at the same time she's not wanting to move on with her life. And there's one part where she calls Julia Roberts and it always reminds me of my mum because it's the only line that she kind of speaks of, which is, I'm sorry, I won't swear, Cinder effing Rella. Because obviously she's been trapped like Cinderella, she's from rags to riches. So what happens at the end?
Well, they get together, don't they?
No, because she says she wants Prince Charming to come and sweep her off her feet. He goes down in a white limo, like a man on a white horse. Prince Charming would normally have a white horse.
Yep.
And he stands up in the limo, and he's like saying, basically, I'm coming to rescue you.
And he climbs a ladder because he's getting over his fear of heights.
Yeah.
He mentions it, doesn't, even though he has the penthouse. He doesn't go on the balcony.
No.
That often, as he said. So it's overcoming
his fears, as well as getting a lovely lady in the end. So.
Well.
Yes, she is.
Maybe some people, but yeah.
I don't know what your problem is. She's beautiful. So what did you think of my film? Be careful, because I really like this film.
Okay.
It's making me nervous.
I can't rate it too highly, unfortunately.
What did you rate Dirty Dancing?
6.5, I believe.
Okay, you broke my heart with that one as well. Please be higher than Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, it is higher than Dirty Dancing.
Okay, good. 7.
It's a 7.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just only 0.5 points higher.
It was enjoyable. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would watch this again at some point.
I'll hold you to that. Now that we've got the DVD, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Need to get his money's worth play out of it.
I think really just because it was being the rom-com that it is, it doesn't do anything more for me other than being that. In a sense, there's nothing I definitely can relate to that, or there's something that really deep meaning stuff that it's just an enjoyable watch. More enjoyable to watch than Birds of Prey.
Yes. I'm glad that you think that, at least. I think this definitely has more of a moral behind it. I think that I love a good moral behind a film.
I'm not saying there isn't that, but I'm just meaning it's just I don't personally take a great deal from that.
I do. But definitely. I think it's a really good storyline. It's got quite a bit of good content. It shows you different classes. It shows you what the riches are like, and then it shows you the poor, like rags to riches, so to speak. I think it's interesting how it plays out.
Yeah, the characters are all fairly solid for what they are. Being a rom-com, there wasn't really any like cringy moments like you would get in some of these modern ones or anything like that, or like roll my eyes at this. I was never like that through the.
I think you really enjoyed it. Actually, you didn't seem to complain at all through it.
No, I do like Richard Gere as a character. As an actor, sorry, I should say.
I think you're downplaying it. I think if it wasn't Julie Roberts as the lead lady, you'd have marked it at least like an 8. You'd just been biased because of Julie Roberts. You never mark my movies good. I'm sulking now. Well, I'm going to tell you my score now.
Okay.
I'm going to score it a 10.
A 10?
10.
Okay.
It's one of my favourites. It's nostalgia for me. I know I shouldn't have said it, but I've watched it when I was little. God knows how little I was. But it is nostalgia.
Did you want to be a prostitute when you grow up?
No, I don't want to be a prostitute when I grow up. But I do want to be treated with respect, and I do want people to value me and where I've come from. And I think that is the case. It shows you that, yep, you can be rich is what you want, but you're still nothing if you don't have that companionship. And I think that's the massive thing. It's like all these people who have got mega bucks, they've got nobody and they're lonely. At the end of the day, it was better off somebody who's not so well off but has a family and loved ones. I think this is where it kind of shows you the principle of money and life values and such. So I think there's a massive learning thing here. Yeah. And there's a good piece of moral, and if I can get that in a film, then I will. And I think it's actually good to watch it when you're little as well, because it is, I know this is about prostitutes, but it shows you the hardship of life and it shows you the success. It's a good life story. Also, I really, really, really do rate Julie Roberts as an actress. She's one of my favourite ones. There's another one on my list, which is My Best Friend's Wedding. You'll hate it, but at some point we'll watch it. There's one character.
I know about this one, meaning I know the fact that they had to change the ending in America because or something, because the test audience didn't like how it was supposed to end.
Oh, I don't even know that.
So
we might have to save that one, and then you can tell
and how it works, and how that works is pretty much sums up how the rom-com formula goes, really. So
no, but I think it's a knockout, this one is. So I was 10 for me.
Okay, well, at least it was a good birthday
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, you should be upset if it had gone, oh, well, I rate it a 4. Then you'd be like, oh, why did I buy it? No. So, lastly,
the very first film that me and Sophie saw together at the cinema.
Yeah, the actual first very film we watched, which I think we should do have we done a review on it? I don't think we have.
Well, no, we haven't not recorded one anyway. We've watched it many years now since we've been together, but we've never done a review of it. So
it's a Christmas film, so we won't tell you. We'll leave it in suspense for you to wonder, because it's not going to be far off Christmas.
No, sadly not now.
And we'll hopefully do a review
on
that.
I think so. So, the the very first film that we saw together at the cinema.
Mm-hmm. Which was a Paul Parks pick. Not a Sophie Wilkinson pick. No. She would not have picked this. Not when we first dated.
Gangster Squad.
Bearing in mind, this is the first film in the cinema that we went to go see. Now, this is a redhead that is a fake redhead that Paul fancies the pants off. That's a really good idea, isn't it? Let's go to a movie with my new girlfriend and swoon over Emma Stone. Also, his new girlfriend doesn't like gore, doesn't like any violence, or she doesn't really like action films at this point.
Yeah.
She gets scared at action films. She got scared at Iron Man 2 or 1, actually, with the terrorists.
What? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I got scared and I couldn't watch any
I didn't
more
see
of
that
it.
with you, so I didn't know.
It wasn't long after we'd probably started dating that I'd seen that and I didn't like it. So
Right, okay.
I said yes to go into this because I liked you. That is the only reason. And I think I actually said to you, yeah, no. And then we walked out of the cinema and I said, yes, I enjoyed it. I can remember I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
I thought it was horrific.
Right, okay. And what do you think now on...
The first opening scene, I was sat in the cinema with my mouth wide open like, you kidding me? This is what we're watching? I don't want to be watching this because obviously there's 2 cars that rip a man in half, isn't there? Like, literally, like, we're only starting like 2 seconds in and somebody's already getting bloody killed. I'm like, I don't think this man knows me very well.
Well, no, I didn't know you very well. We were only starting dating, so you're not going to know someone right off the bat, are we?
You should have known that I wouldn't want to go see this film. I do remember, I think it was the best out of a bad bunch of films you gave me to pick from. I think one was to do with like slavery or something like that. And
I can't remember what other things were at the time.
there was no nice fluffy one.
There might have been, but I would probably be like, no, I wouldn't go see that.
No, well, you didn't give me the option of those.
If there was, no.
I think you gave me 3 or 2 options, but one was like to do with slavery, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch that. That will make me upset. And then I was like, okay, Gangster Squad looks like the easiest option. So, yeah, just so you've got a bit of background of how I felt, because there's a lot of growth within this.
Mm-hmm.
I was rewatching it because literally how long have we been together? Like 7, 8 years? 8 years at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So that's how old this film is. It was like 2013.
Yeah, correct.
And it's like, well, that is a while ago.
Yeah.
And obviously my movie habits have changed, and what I kind of can tolerate now is a lot more than...
And so's mine in a sense as well, with films that I might have found really funny or something.
I think that's my fault though.
And then now it's kind of like grown up a bit more, and
no, I don't think it helps when there's nobody else laughing in the room when you've got me like deadpan like this is not funny. I think if you were with like some of your uni friends or something and they were all laughing, you probably would laugh.
Yeah, it can be an experience of that if you sit with certain people and they're like, or scared, like a horror film, and they're scared, and then you get scared a bit more. It's, depends on you, who you're hanging out with, I guess, sometimes, but...
Yeah. So what did you think initially when you first saw this film? You probably loved it.
Yeah, I think mainly because the fact that when LA Noire came out, and that was 2011.
Oh, okay.
So I think I was on that thought with thinking, well, I enjoyed playing that game. So, and there's a film that's sort of semi-relating to, on the lines of that. So I think, this would be,
I'd have preferred the more LA Noire feel. It has that kind of with the era, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it is a bit gruesome in the film and the game, but it's not so bad. It's more kind of light-hearted. I think there's a lot of gruesome parts in this film.
Which is more light-hearted?
The LA Noire kind of game.
Do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. But then I didn't actually play the full game. I just drove around in the car, so maybe that's...
Okay, yeah, that's good. No, I'd definitely say the LA Noire game is a lot more serious than what this comes across.
I still think this is gruesome though. It is quite gory.
Yeah, strangely. to be honest, obviously it's been a while since we've seen it, so I didn't remember a great deal about it watching it again.
Yeah, it felt like
It
I'd
felt a bit
rewatched.
hazy, like, you know, like we had seen it, but there was only bits and pieces that I could sort of place in, like, thing, because I said, like, to you, like, oh, I'm sure there's a character who dies, and I think I got confused with, I think it was the main, one of the main leads, because he had a family, or was having a family, and then something happened to, but it was one of the other people who ended up getting killed. So it's like, oh right, okay, that's that.
It has been 7 years though.
Yeah.
Nearly 8 years that we haven't.
Yeah, I think it was. I think of going watching this again, thinking, oh, this is gonna be as at the time it was enjoyable to watch, but sadly this time around it wasn't as enjoyable as I remember it being. Really.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think you might have gone the opposite way, because I actually enjoyed it more this time than I did
Oh, okay.
last time. But that's, I think, because I didn't really like blood and gore.
And the and gang, yeah. Type thing.
It wasn't my thing back then.
Yeah.
I just want to say though, don't you think Ryan Gosling's voice?
Yeah,
what the hell is wrong with it?
He had a weird accent going on and things, so it was a bit distracting now.
So irritating. I noticed when I first watched it as well, I thought, he doesn't sound like that normally. And I think it was clear to me, because we'd only watched La La Land recently, that actually it was highlighted to me more that he was like this little insipid cop, and it's like, well, you're meant to be a badass, aren't you? You're killing this gangster.
Taking this gang, yeah.
And it's like, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I was like, I don't understand what he's trying to kind of benefit with that voice.
And talking about him and Emma Stone, in the relationship in this was a lot weaker than, well, obviously than La La Land. But they've been together in another film a couple of years before. You've seen Crazy Stupid Love, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
And there was a lot more chemistry there in that, as I can remember.
Yes.
Mainly, I guess that's because it's obviously like a more modern day, like, you know, like that's all about the relationship thing. Whereas this, I admit, it was a bit weak in terms of what, you know, that you didn't really feel their connection really with how they were. Like, they were really, I know they weren't sort of like meeting in secret type of thing, but it just didn't come across as that genuine. You didn't really feel anything there.
You didn't think they actually cared as much, but I feel like this is because initially when I watched this film, I didn't like Emma Stone. I didn't want to say to you, I didn't like the girl that you really, really fancy, and she's the apple of your eye, but I didn't. But I think that's because obviously of the character she was portraying as well. I didn't like the role she was in.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, not to think, but she did still look really stunning in the outfit. It's really glamorous and everything. Is this?
Oh yeah, everything with the slit leg and.
Other than that, in this film, it just her appearance, everything else was a bit subpar, really, for her, unfortunately.
Also, the smoking scene, she said she looked sexy smoking.
Yeah.
That in itself, it's like, you're not in. Well, I know she's trying to glamorise it in the 50s. Yeah. It was like a sexy thing, wasn't it, to do?
Yeah.
So she got that down pat, but.
Yeah, again, it was glamorised in that era of late 40s, so.
And she did look gorgeous, I'm not going to lie, but her actual character and her morals for her character were a bit weak.
Yeah, which is strange, because, like, I noted down, like, in other things that she'd been in prior to this, which was, like, Zombieland, which is, like, the first time I ever saw her in anything.
First time.
Yeah, so and she was quite good in it, but again, that was a comedy.
I think that's the thing that lacked for Emma Stone, not meaning this in a bad way. She's quite dry and quite funny normally in the roles that I've seen her.
Yeah.
And this, she couldn't actually play on that, so her character seemed a little bit of a weak character. I think she wasn't really a main character anyway, she was more like a side.
Yeah, you didn't really see a great deal of it, to be honest. And more male orientated, really.
She was a pretty face that appeared now and then.
Yeah.
And because she couldn't have her true persona kind of throughout it, I think, because that wasn't the character. I think Emma Stone is one of those, you know, like Rachel from Friends, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
She always has that role, And you know when a role like that will fit in for Jennifer Aniston. And I think that's the same with Emma Stone. She has to be a bit kooky. She has to be a little bit funny kind of character.
in some way. But
and this one was a bit too serious for her, I would say. Mm-hmm. She played it well, but it was just like nothing of that extra pizzazz.
Not that she can't do more serious, but just seemed more stone cold, I guess, is the way to put it really for that. But
stone cold. Emma Stone. Cold, no. Jesus, that took a bit. There was a bit of where I realised why I wouldn't like certain things, like, for example, the drilling of the brains out.
Yeah, you know the drill.
Yeah. And then obviously like the fire burning his own men in the elevator. Yeah. So there was quite a few gruesome kind of...
Yeah, what'd you make of him? Mickey Cohen.
Is not a nice character. He's one of those kind of want to punch him in the face kind of character.
Yeah, very much so. I don't like Sean Penn as an actor, to be honest. He just comes across as trying too hard, and this is to me like the hard gangster thing, and this is a bit more like man-child really when he's this is my city kind of thing, and it's like it doesn't compare to anything, like Godfather or Goodfellas in terms of the gangster roles. Is
that because you've watched The Godfather recently now that's making you compare?
No, but I'm just saying because I've seen Goodfellas quite a few times, and that is a good gangster movie, and they come across as more intimidating without being too OTT about it really, and it's a lot more serious, whereas this, maybe it's strange how it's similar with the whole, like I said about in Birds of Prey, with the villain being a bit too silly. Yeah, with how he comes across. It's not like, that's not really, you shouldn't be acting like that really, and it doesn't work. The whole film seems to have a comedy aspect to it, which I think, I'll explain a bit more in a minute, but I feel like it's made to make the film a bit more accessible to a general audience, rather than something as heavy as Goodfellas or Godfather, which is 3 hours long or whatever, and it's a lot of in-depth character building and stuff, whereas this is just like a 2-hour film, so it's kind of a cramped stuff. Comedy aspects to it. But like when they're trying to break them out of the jail cell, and it's like, oh, that didn't work kind of thing, and
I can kind of get where you're coming from with that one. I do think I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed the concept of the film a lot more. And I enjoyed seeing the kind of story pan out. I noticed a little bit more about the music as well, the way that it played on that. So there was certain scenes where they kind of were clever with wordings like the drilling of the brain. And then there was that boom chicka boom.
Yeah.
Which is quite clever because then it was like a fighting kind of shootout scene. So they kind of did think well, which I don't think I'd have normally noticed. Back then I wouldn't have even thought about that.
I wouldn't call the the drill thing a clever bit of writing. It's just more of a...
No, but kind of puns on kind of sort of things, thinking...
Yeah, I guess. But I mean... They got the style of the late 40s down with everything.
They did.
I think so. That was a good aspect. If I don't get it wrong, but I don't remember them quite being so much like slow-mo when they're shooting the guns type thing and thing going on, and that there was like a scene where it was like when they were firing guns, but every time the light was flashing, it'd freeze frame in an orange glow kind of thing, and then carry on.
Yeah.
And it was a bit it's obviously like a glossy way of doing the production thing to make it a bit more intense, rather than just someone standing in the room and just going at somebody or whatever. With car chases and stuff, and it's a bit more going on to make it a bit more exciting for the general audience who wouldn't normally maybe go see a gangster film or whatever.
Well, I know initially when I went, I didn't even care for this film. I also wrote down as well that Phoebe's brother is this
Frank
kind
Jr.
of is this kind of the brains behind it all, isn't he? He's like the IT.
He's doing the listening out with all the recordings and stuff. And we've also got should know his name, but the guy who plays Falcon in
Yes.
Avengers and stuff in it. I was like, oh, I didn't realise he was in this in an early role.
I love it when that happens, when you don't actually know of somebody.
Or
you don't realise they're in that film.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, it's him, yeah. So it's good. Any more notes?
Just that there was 5 men, 2 of them died. 2 of them being Phoebe's brother. I can't remember which other one died. That's really bad.
He was the one, I forget his name as well as terms of an actor thing, but he's like, I know his face. He plays the...
Is he the good shooting guy?
Yeah, Terminator 2. But he's a bad character in that. But in this, his whole thing was like, with his apprentice, the Michael Pena, who I can never really take seriously as a actor, really. I don't know, there's something about him that doesn't come across that way. So no offence to him, but but his whole thing of like, oh, he's always like his apprentice thing, and then obviously he gets his resolve by helping him aim the gun at the end to him before he dies.
Which is quite a good way to end. At least his apprenticeship's done, but quite a bit of.
But a bit like shoehorned in, like, oh yeah, that's where that's going.
Yeah, I think obviously the ending ends quite well, where Cohen gets put in jail.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of free Los Angeles. Gracie, which is your Emma Stone, gets with Jerry, which I think, to be honest, even for Ryan Reynolds' character, the voice fits Ryan Gosling. I wish it was Ryan Reynolds, it would have made it so much better. Being something better to look at than some drippy piece of crap. I used to fancy Ryan Gosling.
But you liked him in La La Land?
I don't fancy him.
Right.
Just don't mind him.
Okay.
But I loved him in The Notebook.
Right.
This is another film yet you have not seen.
No.
I absolutely adored him. He was like the man of my dreams in The Notebook. And then he's slowly gone. Okay. And Ryan Reynolds has gone. Even fancied Ryan Reynolds when he was in Deadpool, and he was like an old man.
Well, he wasn't an old man. He was just.
He looked like an old man.
Yeah. Right.
So Gracie and Jerry fall in love and couple up, and John has a baby boy and is able to live with his wife and actually become a family man. So you have a happy ending. So, scores on the doors. I feel like you've not enjoyed any of this experience whatsoever. You've given me a 6. Is it like a 6.5? Are we going to get higher than a 7 tonight? Maybe an 8?
No, you're not going to get higher than a 7.
You must have hated every bit of this, me picking a film.
No, I didn't. No. You got experience overall.
Go on then.
But they can't all be 8s and 9s.
I give yours 8s and 9s. Yes, they can.
You don't always give mine 8s and 9s.
Not when it's Borak, I don't know.
Borat. Holding out for Borat too, though.
No, we're not. We're not even seeing it.
No, we have to.
No,
we have to.
I'm not paying. I'm not paying to go see that. I'm sorry. You will drag me kicking and screaming.
Anyway.
Don't just pity me. Tell me your actual score. Well, technically, you picked this film, really, because you picked it the first time we saw it. So it's your fault.
I think realistically, I'm going to 6.5.
What? What is this madness? I'd love to do the stats of me being so kind and going, oh, I watched through a 10-hour film of
oh God, no
samurai killing in black and white with subtitles. Yes, Paul, it's very interesting. I give you really nice light-hearted films. Oh, it's a 6.5. Should have gone with something with a subtitle. Next year, I will get higher. So go on, why is it a 6.5 when Emma Stone's in it? So at least that should be a point to bump it up to at least a 7, where she gets her sexy leg out and smokes.
0.5 really would be that for the. I don't know what you complain about, because this isn't. I'm intrigued to know what yours is really, but I feel like again, this is another thing of not saying on break, but the enjoyableness of it was.
You've become a movie snob.
I guess I have in a sense.
A movie snob.
But I can't really say it's anything much more than that, I'm afraid. At this
But
thing,
why?
Because too much glossy effects and.
What do you think you'd have given it when we?
I don't know.
Initially
Probably would
viewed?
have maybe given it an 8 or something, but I don't. I think really just because my tastes have changed a little bit since many moons ago, and I say it's more of a entry level gangster film. I think that's how it comes across as. Really, now that I've seen a lot more what can be done with gangster story, and it has that, like I says, there's that comical element to it now, which is obviously just like a yeah, this isn't really a serious thing, which I guess kind of makes sense because this director was the same one who did Zombieland.
Oh, it's really good, I thought.
But that is that is meant to be a comedy. This
Right.
isn't. This is supposed to be like a.
Do you think it lacks like the actual comedy like from Emma Stone? Because Emma Stone doesn't shine, and I think maybe that's why you marking it down. Obviously, when I first saw this was the first film I saw of Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my first impression.
Yeah.
Which wasn't great for me, to be honest, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Compared to what I've seen her do.
Yeah.
And her acting skills, I feel like they didn't utilise her as much as they could have.
Yeah, that's definitely, like I said, it's definitely more apparent in this than I thought. She played a bigger role, but it turns out she really doesn't. So
no.
So there's not much to go on with that, and like performances of her just really not that strong. So I can't really say this isn't her best performance. So that's why it's on a much lower scale of the spectrum now than what I might have given it back in the day.
Especially because they just given her a high score just for the fact that she had a leg out and she looked gorgeous, and you'd been like googly eyes. So I am actually going to mark this probably higher than what I would originally.
Okay.
So I've gone the opposite way to you.
Mm-hmm.
On the fact of when I came out of the movie cinema, I hated this film. It was too gory. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the Emma Stone character.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering all the way through what the hell is wrong with Ryan Gosling's voice. That somebody like just grabbed his balls and he's like squeaking all the way through. I don't understand what is actually happening here.
Yeah.
Also, this time I noticed that they tried to ruin Christmas for me, which I didn't appreciate.
I don't think they're purposely doing it for that reason, so I think it's
I feel like they were like blowing up a Christmas tree is not like saying Happy Christmas, is it? So I think, in all honesty, I think I'd probably score it a 7.
It's not so much higher than what I gave it.
I know, but I would have given it. So I don't
know why you're having a go like it.
I would have given it a lot less though, so I'm surprised.
What would you have given it initially then, based on what you could?
Maybe 4.5.
Right. Okay.
So. Really? You're saying the highest score we've got off you is a 6.5?
No, 7.
7.
Pretty rotten.
I'll let you off then. Okay, so we've got 6. Let's just recap. We've got a 6 for
Birds of Prey.
6.5 for Gangster Squad.
Yeah.
And a 7 for Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll take that.
So does that make you feel better in a sense?
Yeah.
But I'm sorry for that's what my thoughts are, but that's what I'm scoring them, and that's just my opinion on them. Sorry.
You will be. I'll just remember to be extra harsh next time, because we're going to be doing scary films next time, aren't we?
Yep, because it's coming October, so it means...
Don't get giddy with yourself. We're going to watch Ghostbusters again.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No.
That's the only scary films I watch. It is. We don't watch scary films.
Got loads of things to choose from, so you can be more picky about what I've got on offer for those. But there is one particular one I do want to see the back end of the month. So there's definitely...
Going to really scare me.
I don't know, but...
Is it a ghost one?
Well, sort of, but we'll keep that till later on.
Okay.
To tell you about that. But looking forward to watching those.
I'm not.
And probably by the time this episode comes out, it'll have been a year since we've technically started this whole project, so it's quite exciting.
It is. Kiki's delivery service.
In the first one, yeah.
And then we've just got, can't believe it's been a year, it's gone so quick.
Yeah.
My movie taste and me being a bit picky has definitely changed and developed, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you want to go and watch one of them, but the main one we recommend is Pretty Woman.
I guess so, that's the consensus, I suppose, from certainly on Sophie's part. So yes, thank you very much for listening. Hope the audio has been a bit cleaner this time as well.
Woo! New house!
Yes. New perks. And of course you can listen to our previous episodes on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you might get podcasts from. And of course you can follow us on the social media platforms of Facebook, Instagram and Twitter under the handle SP Film Viewers.
So thank you so much for listening. I hope that you try and do a movie marathon, especially with everything going on at the moment. I think it kind of makes it a bit more light-hearted for you, doesn't it?
Yep.
Makes it more enjoyable. So definitely give that a go. And we'll speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.